Hi, so my name is Dana Kern. I am a teaching principal from Holualoa, Hawaii, and I'm really excited to share this presentation today on student well-being and this whole concept of Maslow before Bloom. So who is Maslow? Abraham Maslow is an American psychologist. He was known for the hierarchy of needs he created. The hierarchy contains 5 levels of human needs, and that includes physiological needs, safety needs, belongingness and love needs, esteem needs, and then finally self-actualization. So at the bottom here, our lowest levels of needs are called physiological and safety needs. And these are our most important and most basic needs. They include things like food, water, shelter, and these help us feel safe and secure. These needs also cover areas such as sleep, clean air, exercise, clothing, warmth, and other physical needs. When families have a hard time paying for their basic needs or don't have a safe place to be, children may struggle in school. If families can't meet their basic needs every day, they may not have enough energy to focus on the higher needs, and that can also affect how our children are doing in school. The third and fourth levels of Maslow's hierarchy are about belonging, which includes love and esteem needs. These levels are connected because sometimes people think that feeling good about themselves is more important than love. Maslow said this is a common situation where people believe that getting respect from others often helps them belong. And so they see gaining respect as a way to fit in rather than just their own self-esteem. What we need to know is that for families that meet their children's basic needs and can provide safety, these next 2 levels, love and belonging and esteem, are often what those families worry about in school and the community. And know that families and communities that are struggling also think about these levels too, right? We all think about these levels in our children. The last level in Maslow's hierarchy is called self-actualization, and this level is important because it means that a person has met all their other needs and is now looking to grow even more. When people feel comfortable and happy, they might start to feel restless or want more from life. And this desire to keep improving personally and professionally is what self-actualization is all about. Maslow said, "What a man can be, a man must be," which means that everyone should try to reach their full potential. This idea helps us understand what self-actualization really means. So who is Bloom? Benjamin Bloom was an American psychologist. He's famous for creating something called the taxonomy of educational objectives. This is a system that helps teachers understand different levels of thinking skills that students use when they learn. Bloom's system has different levels that are called cognitive tiers. These tiers include 6 main categories: remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Each category uses special action words or verbs that help describe what students should be able to do as they learn. This helps teachers plan lessons that can challenge students to think at different levels. So Bloom's taxonomy is a way to think about how we learn and how we understand things. Remembering is the first level. It means that one can find information and recall facts and information. Then we have understanding. This is the second level. Understanding means one can make sense out of information and they can explain ideas or concepts. Then we have applying. This is the third level. Applying means one can use the information in new but similar situations. Analyzing is the fourth level, and this means one can break down information into parts, explore relationships, and see how they connect. Evaluating is the fifth level. Evaluating means one can critically examine information and make judgments. And then creating is the highest level. Creating means you can use information to create something new. So how is Bloom's taxonomy related to Maslow's hierarchy, right? They seem really different. Well, Bloom's taxonomy is important because it relates to Maslow's hierarchy, because how a person grows and develops according to Maslow affects how well they can learn. And this is both in school and with their feelings. Bloom's taxonomy is not just a list of action words we use in schools. It shows 3 main types of learning that cover all types of learning. There's knowledge, which is cognitive, right? That's what we know and understand. There's attitude and feelings, how we feel about things. And then there's skills, right? The psychomotor, what we can do with our hands and our bodies. Bloom's taxonomy has actually changed over time, right? In 2001, a former student of Bloom created a new version of the taxonomy to better match the learning methods that we use in the 21st century. During this update, the 6 categories were revised to use verbs instead of nouns. And this change was made because verbs represent actions and thinking is an active process, right? So I have both charts here, and I've been going off the revised version, of course, because we're in the 21st century, but I thought I'd put them up here for you to see the difference in categories. So humans must have their basic needs met before they can fully focus on academic learning and meet academic objectives. One of the basic tenets of education is that a learner has to be ready to learn, right? And this is where the whole concept of Maslow before Bloom comes in, because we have to meet these needs that Maslow has shown us before we're going to be able to bloom, right? And fully learn in the way that's intended. To help students Maslow before Bloom, it's crucial to prioritize Maslow's principles before we apply Bloom's taxonomy. This entails addressing students' holistic needs to enable them to achieve and surpass academic standards. The foundation lies in fostering a learning environment that's supportive. Simply providing resources is not sufficient. Schools must promote and instruct on how to use these resources effectively. And as educators, we must acknowledge that many of us were not explicitly taught skills for self-regulation or conflict resolution. Instead, our understanding often came from personal experiences rather than formal instruction in these skills, right? We need to teach our students these skills. As teachers, we need to look at how an environment can help students meet their basic needs before we focus on the higher level learning. The first levels of Maslow's hierarchy, the physiological needs and safety needs, are often out of control of our students. For those who lack access to food or stable housing or financial security, the levels of stress and conflict they experience are likely to be greater and more frequent than those who don't have those challenges. Students who don't have their basic needs filled, they often find themselves in unmanageable situations, and this leads to an increase in stress and conflict. This can feel insurmountable for a child. It's essential for young people to learn about the functioning of their brains and to develop strategies to help themselves when they feel overwhelmed. Understanding emotions like fear and anger, which can contribute to stress and conflict, is essential for our students. They should recognize how their feelings can influence their actions and impact those around them. It's important for them to practice coping techniques that promote self-control. When intense emotions become overwhelming, students need to learn that this can affect their choices. Students need to develop effective strategies to resolve their conflicts, and the foundation of this process starts with direct instruction from us, from educators, on emotions, stress management, conflict resolution, and self-regulation. We have to be teaching our students these skills. In the higher levels of belonging, which include love and esteem, we need to teach our students that knowledge is a powerful tool. Understanding knowledge as a strength allows our students to face their fears and issues effectively. For instance, knowing that thunder is just a sound and cannot harm them helps them feel less afraid. This understanding or this knowledge can be applied to any fears that are faced by our students. By sharing thoughts, everyone can work together to find ways to cope with challenges. Teaching students about gratitude can really lower their stress levels. By educating them on effective communication and how to articulate thoughts and emotions, we not only enable them to share their ideas, but we help lower their stress levels. It's essential for educators to provide additional support to those who may struggle to progress positively in these areas. We need to guide them towards self-actualization. Many families may not have the time or expertise to guide their children in developing self-regulation or conflict resolution skills. Various external factors beyond the family's control can play a role in this. Additionally, some families may not have learned these strategies themselves, right? And that makes it really difficult for them to model self-regulation or conflict resolution if they don't know how to do it themselves. Teachers are in a distinctive position. We hold a responsibility because we're a significant part of our students' lives to impart or teach these important skills to our students. Okay, so supporting Maslow's hierarchy of needs before applying Bloom's taxonomy is essential for creating a conducive learning environment. Here are some strategies to consider. Okay, number one, we need to ensure that the basic needs of students are met. Safety and security. We need to create a safe classroom environment. We need to have clear boundaries and routines so kids feel secure. And physical needs. Provide opportunities for breaks, snacks, physical activity to cater to their well-being. Number two, we need to foster a sense of belonging. Okay, we need community belonging. We need to engage students in team building activities and collaborative projects to promote social interaction and strengthen their relationships. And we need inclusive practices. Recognize and celebrate diversity in the classroom. Encourage students to share their backgrounds and experiences. Number three, we need to promote self-esteem. We need to use positive reinforcement, praise, constructive feedback to help build students' confidence, highlight their strengths and achievements. We need to help with goal setting, help students set achievable personal and academic goals, and foster a sense of purpose and accomplishment. We need to build mastery in our students. So important. We need to encourage emotional support, open communication. We need to maintain open lines of communication where students feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and feelings. And then we need social emotional learning. We need to integrate SEL practices in our curriculum, or even better, if you can have dedicated SEL classes at your school. We need to teach students how to manage emotions and build resilience. So crucial. And then lastly, we need to cultivate a growth mindset. We can do this by encourage risk-taking. Create a classroom culture where mistakes are viewed as learning opportunities. This helps students feel safe to explore and grow. I always tell my students I love mistakes because we fix them, and that is how our brain grows, right? We need to model perseverance. Share stories of perseverance and success to inspire your students to value effort and resilience in their learning journey. Right? There's a lot of ways to do this, right? We do an entrepreneur fair every year at our school where our kids create businesses and sell stuff, and everyone buys from them. It creates a sense of success in them and mastery, and it helps with the perseverance. They worked hard on their businesses and now they're selling their products. Once these foundational needs are addressed, you can effectively apply Bloom's taxonomy to promote higher order thinking and deeper learning. So some additional strategies to help support Maslow in order to bloom. We need to make sure our students have food in any way we're able to. We can grow food on campus. We can bring food to share with students who need it, but ensuring they have their most basic need of food, something in their stomachs, is really important. We need to ensure our students have water at school, right? There must be a place for them to get water. Have a quiet place where a student can rest or take a nap if they need it, right? That student who was up all night listening to their parents fight, or who was in the shelter last night and couldn't sleep, they're tired. Have a place where they can rest. Have people donate old clothing in case students don't have sufficient enough or warm enough clothes. Ensure your classroom or school is a safe environment. If students feel unsafe, you need to find out why, if you can, and help support their needs, right? Is it another student? Is it another classroom that doesn't feel safe? Allow them to spend recess or lunch with you if they feel safer. Monitor students' social needs, right? Support them with building friendships and build your own relationships with students. Anything you can to meet those social needs. Help your students to gain mastery, to build self-esteem, right? When students can do things on their own, they can have autonomy, make their own choices, have success. This builds mastery, and this leads to purpose. Help show your students their strengths. Show them what they're good at. Support them in what they're good at. Build autonomy. Let them make choices for themselves. Let them figure it out, right? This is how they get mastery and ultimately succeed. And then support your students' aspirations. So, so important. All right, so there's so much you can do to ensure kids Maslow before Bloom, but just remember we need to meet the basic needs of our students in order for them to succeed academically and meet our academic expectations. Thank you so much.